Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'd like to discuss my major predictions for the Flames of Hope. I will not be talking about the things that are featured in my previous Flames of Hope video called My Crazy Book 15 Theory, but I do recommend that you watch that video. It contains a really awesome and crazy theory for what I think will ultimately happen in the book. But instead of making an off-the-rails theory, this video is just a pile of my predictions for what will happen. This is in no means a theory, but rather just some things I think this book will set up and include to tease future content. Not anything that is confirmed, like the story of how Luna and Swordtail met. By the way, this video contains some major spoilers for all of Arc 3. If you haven't read that arc yet, please click off. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. I think that the epilogue will leave the story open in a way. I do not think that Tui will try and introduce a new continent or do something dramatic like she did for Darkness of Dragons. I'm hoping that Arc 4, if there is one, will be centered around the next generation of Dragonets. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'd love to see another arc with Bumblebee, Auklet, Peacemaker, and Cliff as the main protagonists. Tui does go this route. I think she'll definitely tease it in the epilogue. So, in a way, the story will be open-ended, but not in some dramatic fashion like previously done in the series. I think it'll just briefly set up the Dragonets meeting together at a later time in the future, because keep in mind, Bumblebee can't even really speak yet. However, it is entirely possible that Tui won't tease another arc, but I don't think this is the case. Just because Arc 3 isn't the greatest doesn't mean Tui will stop altogether. Another thing that I think will happen in the Flames of Hope is that we'll get a new queen to the HiveWings. Wasp clearly isn't going to stay, even if she is innocent. Check out my crazy Book 15 theory. The likely candidates are Katydid or Luna. It could be Katydid because, even though it would seem like a repeat from Book 5, Cricket could choose her mother to be the queen. This does seem like a stretch, though, especially because there would be no reason for Cricket to be the one to choose who the next HiveWing queen is. Some people want this to happen, but I'm not too on board with this idea, mainly since we haven't seen much of Katydid. Since it's pretty obvious that the SilkWings will win their freedom at the end of the book, since Luna is the protagonist and she's really into that subject, Luna herself being the queen is entirely a possibility. I would be quite happy with this outcome, actually. Although, since both tribes would most likely be independent, maybe they could have one ruler, just like how Glory is the queen of the Rainwings and the Nightwings, but I don't think this will be the case. I do think we'll be getting separate queens for each tribe once they divide, although they'll still be somewhat friendly towards each other. I can see Cricket saying, but my sister Katydid would make a great queen once the HiveWings panic on who to pick. Or maybe even Lady Scarab, who knows? But if the SilkWings are getting a queen, I could totally see Luna ruling over them. Blue would probably encourage her to do this, because, after all, if my crazy theory is correct, then she'll be the one to make a huge sacrifice at the end of the book, or just be the ultimate savior. Anyways, what are your Book 15 predictions? Let me know down below. We only have to wait until April, so the book isn't actually that far away. I can't wait to see the final conclusion, Arc 3, as well as the ending to the Othermind and Queen Wasp's reign. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!